In the UK, I can swear. Hi, my name's Phineas, and this is My Life in 20 with Capital Buzz. What movie could you watch 20 times over and not get bored? A movie that I've been watching since I was a child was Ferris Bueller's Day Off, and we just watched it recently on tour, leaving Chicago, because we'd walked around and seen all the kind of iconic Ferris Bueller locations, Sears Tower, etc. So I'm gonna go Ferris Bueller. You've worked with many iconic artists, and in 2019, you scored your first 2 number ones as a producer. Which artist that you haven't worked with would you still love to work with, and why? I'm gonna say Tu Hollis right now. Tu Hollis just put out an album called Star, like 2 weeks ago or something, and it's so sick. He, by the way, does not need any help from me, and I think produces pretty much all of his stuff himself, so I'm just an admirer. If you ever want somebody to sit in the studio and bob their head and tell you that they're awesome, give me a call. Every other song on the Tu Hollis album, he just has like himself whispering things like, come a little closer, and then you hear like Formula One cars go like as fast. It's so sick. I'm very impressed.
Talking of number ones, one of them is Lose You to Love Me by
That's right.
Selena Gomez, and you recently worked with her again on her new album.
Yeah.
What do you love about working with her?
Lose You to Love Me, I co-produced with the producers Matt Mann and Robin, and I think it was written by Selena and Justin Tranter and I think Julia Michaels, and that was just a kind of a invitation into a world of a bunch of creatives that I was very impressed by, so that was a real treat. And then on this album, I got to work with her and her fiance, Benny Blanco, who's a friend of mine for many years, so it was a treat to get to work with them both. They're very in love. It's for real. If you were curious, it's real. What niche random topic could you talk about for 18 minutes straight without notes? Well, right now, in truth, it's tuberculosis, because I'm reading a book called Everything is Tuberculosis. I like to listen to audiobooks to fall asleep every night. It really helps take my mind off of like whatever thing I'm rolling through from the previous day. But this book is too sad and upsetting, and it keeps me awake and haunts me. So I've had to change to lighter material. But did you know, when you read a history book about, you know, T.S. Eliot or F. Scott Fitzgerald, and they talk about having the disease consumption, that's what they used to call tuberculosis. It's exactly the same thing. There are 17 songs on the deluxe edition of your album, Optimist. There are? That's so many. In your opinion, what is the perfect amount of songs an album should have? Not 17, that is too many. Billie and I, currently in the year 2025, feel that 10 songs is a perfect album length. But there have to be 0 skips, because if you have a skip on a 10-song album, then it's 8 songs or 7 songs, and that can't happen. So if you can make an album with no skips, 10 is the magic number. But ask me again next year, and I will give you a different number.
Well, both For Crying Out Loud and Hit Me Hard and Soft have 10 tracks, so was that conscious?
By design. I mean, I felt like that was the perfect number for Hit Me Hard and Soft, and then it became the perfect number for sort of anything. If I'd done 10 albums, I would have made them all 10 songs in that year, just because they felt like the perfect number of songs. I got really into listening to 10-song albums, so I was trying to make them.
There's also been double album theories about Hit Me Hard and Soft since it came out.
I would never speak on that. What can you remember about your 16th birthday? I went through a period of time, I was like a Jehovah's Witness. I had almost no acknowledgement of my birthday in my life. I probably went to dinner at like a Thai restaurant. I love Thai food. Probably just my girlfriend at the time and my family. I kept it very low key. I like a party, but I don't really like my birthday. I saw a thing online recently that said that getting happy birthday sung to you feels like an unskippable ad, and I super agree with that. The answer, what can you remember about your 16 years? Nothing. If you could go back and relive any 15 minutes of your life, what moment would you love to experience again that I can talk about? Let's see. This is such a goofy answer, but I always really love coming home from stuff. It's very cliche, but yeah, like walking out of the airport and then getting in my girlfriend's car and driving home. Those are always like a really good 15 minutes for me. Sometimes she brings the dogs, and the dogs are just in the window of the car, like shaking. I really fuck with that. What TV show were you obsessed with at 14? I'm so glad you asked. It was a show called Bloodline. Nobody has seen this show. And David one of the members of my touring band and I watched it together at 14. It's a great show. Ben Mendelsohn is the bad guy, amazing actor. Kyle Chandler is the good guy, sort of, amazing actor. Amazing actor, not sort of amazing actor. Sort of the good guy. Anyway, Bloodline's great. The first season, I only watched the first season. 13 is unlucky for some. Do you have any weird superstitions that you always have to do? No, I'm not superstitious. Although, the other day, before our first show in Dublin of this tour, we kept talking about omens. This is a good omen, this is a bad omen. We saw a poster for the band Jedward on the wall. We decided that that was a good omen. And then me and Lucy and David were playing Fortnite, and we were like, if we win this game of Fortnite, that's such a good omen. And it got down to me and one other player in the game. So I was looking pretty good. And I pulled up on the last player to defeat them. And they had a Billie Eilish skin on. And I was like, what kind of an omen is that? I had to gun down a player dressed as Billie. I was like, what omen is this? I had to send her a text afterward. I was like, you gotta be really careful today, dude. I don't know what's going on. You began writing music when you were 12 years old. Who is your favorite songwriter of all time? My favorite songwriter of all time is probably Paul McCartney. I think to be so real. But as I have gotten older, I have grown new reverence for other great songwriters. I remember the first time I ever came to London, I saw Beautiful, the Carole King, and gained a really profound appreciation for her as a songwriter. Obviously, I love Tapestry, but that play largely focuses on her songwriting beforehand, and she's an amazing songwriter. Paul Simon, amazing songwriter. Leonard Cohen, who's like my favorite contemporary songwriter. Leslie Feist, incredible songwriter. If you could live the life of any other person for 11 hours, who would you be and why? I've been all about American baseball lately because it's the last good thing we have. I think being Shohei Ohtani. I went to a game recently and he hit a walk-off home run, and I was like, that's crazy to be in that body and like swing at the ball and win the game. It's so crazy to win a baseball game like that and probably think like, oh, phew. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he's probably just relieved. You've won 10 Grammys to date. Which song are you most proud of working on and why? I'm really proud of What Was I Made For from the Barbie movie. And I'll tell you why. I think like anytime Billie and I make something, typically it's just sort of us reaching out into thin air and trying to grab something. And I think in the case of Barbie, we got invited into it, right? I was, reached out to basically by Mark Ronson, and then got put in touch with Greta, and then everybody that was involved, I had a lot of respect for. I was really blown away by the movie. I thought it was so well written, sort of beautifully made. And so trying to make something that had to fit a really certain part of this movie was important to me, and felt like making a puzzle piece to finish a puzzle. I was really just relieved when we made that song. I was like, oh, thank God, we made the right thing for this. But I really love that song. I think Billie's vocals on that song are so good. I'm really proud to have made that song.
A lot of people said you and Billie were snubbed this year at the Grammys. How did you feel about Hit Me Hard and Soft not winning?
I really don't, I don't care. A lot of great musicians and artists won Grammys this year, and we've won so many, and I never thought we'd win any. And I think it's your job when you check a item off your bucket list or have a dream come true. It's your job to move on and let that thing go and let go of the like eternal hunger for the thing. I think you're missing the point if you're like, yeah. I mean, and also honor to be nominated for Grammys for that album. It's and there's only 5 artists or 6 artists or something nominated for those things. So this was also our 5th or 6th year in a row of being nominated for Grammys at the Grammys. That's crazy. Like it's sort of so many good things. So yeah, no complaints. Every time they would show like the, and the nominees are, and they'd play like Sabrina and Chapel and Kendrick and Billie. Like Billie and I would like watch the nominee list and we'd look at each other and be like, stacked. Like it was amazing. So track 9 on For Crying Out Loud is called Family Feud. If you and Billie had to team up for a game show or reality competition, which one do you think you'd win? I don't know how we do on any reality game show. I have been asked to be a participant of Celebrity Jeopardy a couple times. I have turned that down for fear of humiliating myself with how little I know. I'll tell you the one I'd like to do the most, and I'm not saying we would win or do remotely well, but there's a show called American Ninja Warrior where they are climbing monkey monkey bars and swinging around on shit. That would be really fun. There used to be a show called Wipeout. I would also do the show Wipeout. Again, not saying we'd win, but I would like to try. And I know Billie would like to try. What completely irrational thing were you terrified of at the age of 8? I mean, it wasn't irrational, but I was very afraid of being abducted. Which of the 7 deadly sins do you think you're most guilty of? I guess lust. I think lust is the one. If you could invite 6 celebrities, dead or alive, to go on the ultimate night out with, who would you invite and where would you go? Okay, this is a good segue into a game that will make me know friends that Claudia and I play called Boys Night. We try to come up with the worst boys night we can come up with. It's all usually like somebody we had to work with at, you know, some job that drove us insane. 6 celebrities, dead or alive, to go on the ultimate night out with. I mean, ultimate night out would point to, like, they have to party. I'm gonna go Tom Waits, Gayle King, because I've been thinking about Gayle a lot because she just returned to Earth. And Gayle would wanna invite Oprah because they're best friends. So we're gonna go Gayle, Oprah, Wendy Williams to kind of shake up the dynamic of that. Any era, by the way. Today, Wendy Williams, beginning of their career, Wendy Williams. I'm gonna go Arnold Schwarzenegger. I'm gonna go Zach Galifianakis. Zach Galifianakis would hate this, but I would kind of enjoy that component of it. Name 5 things you can't live without. Billie, Claudia, mom, dad, water. Describe yourself in 4 words. Kindness over honesty, always. What are your top 3 songs of all time? Day in the Life by the Beatles, Hide and Seek by Imogen Heap, Hallelujah, Leonard Cohen. I've been thinking about a lot of top 10 songs lately, but just in terms of, like, to me, it's like if I heard it a week ago, it can't be a top 3 song of all time, even if I love Flash by Hollis. Name 2 things on your bucket list. To be so real. Never been much of a bucket list guy. I'd like to have kids. That's sort of the only thing I can think of. Be Shohei Ohtani for 11 hours and hit a grand slam. Who or what is your one true love? However you interpret it, but my family. Yeah. Great. Thanks, guys.